We produced this interview for the Introduction Architecture course at Architecture Study, BINUS University, under the guidance of our lecturer, A.R. Primavera Desta, IAI. First, I would like to introduce myself and my teammate. My name is Safana Najla.
I'm Sajid Sola Amirul Haq.
So, hello, Mr. Ridha Razak.
All right.
I think the first one is like a basic question first.
All right, sure. Let's go.
Next question is Metaverse and AI.
Yeah, sure.
Basic questions. Okay. If seen from the perspective of a freshman architecture student, an architect who has been involved in a world of architect for more than 10 years, indeed like a prodigy professional who difficult to achieve. Have you dreamed of becoming an architect since childhood or perhaps as a teenager?
Oh, yes. Hello, hi. My name is Architect Ridha Razak from Malaysia. Very nice question. You're asking about have I dreamed about becoming an architect from small? Yes, of course. I've been exposed to architecture since small from my parents. Both my parents are architects, father and mother. And I started going to site when I was 5 years old. So that's why I was very interested in architecture, looking at. But what I was very interested is architecture is very special because I like arts, and also I like science. So the combination between art and science make me very interested in terms of the combination integration to create things, innovations. Yeah. So that's a little bit story about why I started doing architecture, and subsequently during high school I involved in a lot of things that are related to building things, and hence therefore applying to architecture in Australia.
Okay, that's very nice. Have you go to school like an art things or something?
Actually, very interesting. During high school, I was in a science stream, doing physics, chemistry, and biology. And when I finished school, I entered a foundation, and that time I was contemplating whether I wanted to do architecture or actually I wanted to do IT. At that time was the boom of IT back in the 90s. So my foundation was quite interesting. My foundation was in IT, information technology, and during my IT foundation, I was doing a lot of programming and also database management. During that time also, I was, how can I get into architecture with an IT foundation? So I started drawing a lot of sketches everywhere, on my house, my room, my toilet, everywhere. I have a sketchbook. So I sent to the university, a few universities, plus application to a university in Australia. Then I got into first year. That was amazing. Because usually you need to have a foundation in architecture to go into university, right?
Right.
But in my case, it's a little bit different. It was all about sketching. And then the university accepted me. Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I will continue to the next questions. So as we can see from the rmit.edu website, the university where Mr. Ridha Razak took a bachelor degree in architect at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. It's that ranked 25th globally, top 50, and second in Australia. Where the question is, were there any special difficulties when completing assignment, especially in the first semester, or were there any interesting experience while studying architecture at RMIT?
All right.
Because we're freshmen, maybe we can get inspired by you.
Yeah. So when like I said just now, when I entered architecture, I was not from the arts stream. I was from the science stream. As I entered the first week of, actually, I was so excited to go to Australia, right? Finally get out of Malaysia and then experience new things. But when I went to Australia, the university, I met all my classmates. And my classmates are all trained from foundation architecture. They had all the skills. They can draw, they can even do 3D and animations. So for the first, and I can't even really do anything, especially can't even do technical drawings, don't know how to use the technical pen, setting up the tables, even AutoCAD, right? So it was quite challenging for me. I must admit, I cry a lot of times for the first 2 months, and my course was quite difficult because we are 5 years, 5 years degree.
Oh, 5 years.
So there's no way turning back, because when I go first year, I have to go until all the way to 5th year. If not, I wouldn't have anything, right? So it was quite challenging, and the mental was very challenging, because you know that for your first year, oh my God, I have another 4 years to go to finish up architecture. Scary, yeah. And you don't know what will you experience. But true enough, I had a lot of help from my seniors in school, in schools, and especially my classmates in architecture. And some of them are from Indonesia. Sometimes I go to Indonesia to visit some of my classmates in Jakarta, like Randy Halim and Andy, Vincent from Surabaya. Many of them are still in Jakarta. So they help me a lot in terms of it. So we grow together from first year and then second year. And what's interesting about RMIT is actually a research-based university. So a lot of the subjects are more to the studios, are more to project, ultimate problem-solving projects. So, and the most exciting part, how we can actually, how we progress very fast, is that when we were in second semester up to 4th year, we all are mixed between the first year, second year, and third year in one studio. So it's very, very challenging, because when you present in one studio, one thematic, you have the first year, second year, third year designing stuff, and also communicating the projects, presenting their projects, and also the communication of their design, and also the illustration. So you can see, like, we all first year, we are like, very limited in terms of technical and also skills. But when the third year presents, that, wow, you guys can do this. So we learn from progress. The pressure create our transformation and progress, and also create our maturity. Yeah? But the best part is actually having the discussion. That's one of the challenges. But one thing good about studying abroad, or like Australia, is that everyone's very open-minded, and we are exposed to the environment. And RMIT being in the city helps a lot, because around us was all design environment. So it's easy for us to experience, and it's all a walkable city. So we can, after class, we can go out, experience the city, and then looking at that time, Melbourne have just launched the Melbourne 2030 direction, which is a sustainable city, and a few of the building, which is 6-star green building, have started. So there's some part of what interesting about my studies during first year until I finished. A lot of things interesting. Even the final year was very stressful, because you want to finish the project, or finish your final year with you want to do excel in your project. So there's a lot of things good experience for your young architects who are experienced architecture. You should appreciate it, and try to get as much as possible skills in your school and also your internship.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That's very amazing. And I just want to ask that, is it have a similarity like Indonesia? Because in BINUS, especially in BINUS, we're actually just studying for 4 year, and the first year is we're studying like a basic drawing, and then after the first year, like another year, we're using AutoCAD and Revit and other CAD. But the first year is using manual drawing. It's not like using CAD. Is it similar to the university that you are into it?
Yes. For my first year, I have one design class subject, and then one communication subject, and one technical subject. So for our design, we are not allowed to use computer. We're only allowed to do technical drawings using rotary pen, and we have a table last time. You still use the table?
Yeah, where?
Yeah, so we have a table. I remember drawing Le Corbusier, Farnsworth out like thousands of times. With all the mistakes, and with like the tracing paper is very expensive, right? And especially the film tracing paper, I think last time when we bought it's like $3. It's like about 30,000 rupiah one paper. So it's very very expensive. So you mistake and then you have to do it again and you carve it. And then for technical, we actually started learning AutoCAD from the first year.
Yeah.
At that time, we couldn't. I bought my first digital camera. It was very expensive. That time, digital camera is just came out. It was a 5 million rupiah. One digital camera. It's very, very expensive. And the size of the digital camera was, I think, 1.6 megabyte. Yes, very small. So we have to take photos all small, and also we only can use the hard drive. The special hard drive, not there's no USB yet at the time. USB just started when I was in third year. So quite interesting, amazing. So it was a mix between manual and also a little bit of AutoCAD, and also even renderings we are not allowed. We are using only Photoshop to do our montage, to visualize our project lah. So that's a little bit about my experience.
Okay. Okay. Next, I will continue for the third question. Is what is specific thing should a person pursue after graduating from university to becoming a professional architect?
All right. So this is very interesting. So after you finish your professional degree, which is the architecture, either third year or fifth year, the first thing that you need to do is you should go for holiday and rest and clear your mind. Don't bother to do anything. Have fun. I remember the first 3 months after I graduate, I didn't do anything. In fact, I enrolled in a dance class, salsa class, because when I was in university, I always follow my good friend from Indonesia. Her name is Tiki Rizka. So I followed her to the salsa club, and she taught me a little bit about salsa, but I wanted to follow her dancing. So then after that, I pursue in dancing. While I pursue dancing, then I start looking for work. So I started applying to a few firms until I get the right firm, and I actually joined my father to start my practice in 2006. Yeah, and then started my journey lah as an architect. And while doing architecture during the day, at night I go dancing. So the key is you have to have fun when you're doing architecture. But what's the key that I think create my knowledge and success is actually wanting to pursue my professional paper, and at the same time, I actually put a KPI to myself, meaning that every year I must get one certificate. Doesn't matter what certificate. Could be singing, could be secretarial, could be teaching, anything. So I did it for 10 years. So every year I have a new skill. So because of that, after 10 years, I have multiple skills in legal, in financial, in arts and design, and many things that now actually fruitful because I can combine all my skills with my architecture.
So, out of architect.
Yeah, out of architect. Yeah, no. Interesting, right?
Very interesting. Like, when you finish your bachelor degree, are you just like continuing straight away to another architecture school, or just like have some rest before continuing?
Even when I did my architecture for 5 years, I actually take a rest for 1 year after the third year.
What did you do for a year?
For a year, the first 6 months, I went to work in an island. become at a restaurant in an island in Malaysia. So I just working as a server, at a restaurant. That was quite interesting, meeting a lot of people and enhancing my communication skill with the foreigners. And then the next 6 months, I started doing internship with a company. So that time I just learned, use all my skill from the first 3 years to do 3D, to do urban planning. Because I was always interested in urban planning, so that's why I like to join to see how people do and plan the cities. When I was so lucky that during my 4th year, actually I did an exchange program in Austria. So I studied in TU Vienna for a while, for a few months. So that also opened up my mind in terms of how things work in terms of Europe. Yeah. So you as architect, you should make your journey colorful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Okay, I will next for the 4th question. As we can see in your LinkedIn, Mr. Ward as a transdisciplinary architect. What is transdisciplinary architect, and what is the greatest experience in the field of transdisciplinary architect?
all right. So do you know, when you talk about transdisciplinary architect, is actually a new term, but you have to understand what's the difference between transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Yeah. Multidisciplinary is a discipline within our built environment discipline. We have the architecture, engineering, quantity surveying. That's all multidisciplinary within our field, which is construction, right? So in the world of transdisciplinary, is a new world of actually being outside of the box, which is engaging architecture with other things like legal, like medical, like oil and gas, like food, music. So so being a transdisciplinary architect meaning is that you have to actually have interest in or excited to integrate your experience as an architect to be used, the skills to be used in other fields, right? So for example, like if right now I'm like heritage. So I start going into heritage asset management. So I use all the skills of my architecture to actually become a heritage manager. That itself is actually very hard because I'm not an asset manager, but I use all the ideas of, I know how to do drawings. I know how to do 3D. So I can engage public more by giving 3D free. Because most architects, love their drawings. Secret, they don't want to give others. For me, it's what everything should be shared. Right. So another angle is that I love education, but I don't teach in university, but I love training. So one of my skills is as a facilitator training, certified under the government. So what I do is actually I start setting up a company to teach young architects how to get their license. So I've trained over 2,000 architects that get their license for their professional. So by doing that, I have to actually equip myself with all the knowledge, legal knowledge, arbitration, adjudication, design of fire, experience in high-rise buildings, Using that, actually, I started teaching, but not for teaching architect to become just for technical, but teaching them in terms of business. How do they actually set up their company and become niche in their business? So that's another angle. Another angle is because I graduate my foundation from IT, so it's easy for me to actually get into this world of digital transformation, from NFT, blockchain, Metaverse, right? AI. So it's not a very difficult thing for me. It's just going through and then testing it. That creates because when you're in this transdisciplinary world, your mind is always open and thinking of possibilities, right? So now I'm planning to open a cafe. So this cafe, I want it to be architecture. So that's why I've been traveling to Indonesia to meet Antonius Richard, to see how he make his cafe Tanatap, right? So those are some of the experience I have as a transdisciplinary architect.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, my dream is actually to become an architect singer like Tulus, but I cannot, not yet.
Someday.
Someday, yeah.
Okay, maybe that's all my question, and then my friends will ask for the other questions like Metaverse and AI.
Sure.
So, halo Mr. Ridha.
Halo, apa kabar?
Kabar baik. Let's jump out about Metaverse and AI, artificial intelligence. We know that we back in the 2021 when Metaverse is booming and viral. And one of the biggest metaverse at that time is Meta from Facebook. But the other one, like Sandbox or decentralized land, at that time, many were quickly moving from the conventional designer to the designer in Metaverse. Yeah. So the question is, what kind of response can architect actually follow in Metaverse and AI generative technologies?
All right, very interesting idea. Very interesting questions. Well, actually, like myself, I experienced Metaverse way early. When I was in Australia, we had this studio by Tom Kovac. That time we were already studying about cyber city, cyber architecture. Yeah. So, architects are very familiar with 3D. Yeah? But in that studio is very different because we are looking into how architects can actually create environmental system, cyber city, cyberspace design for people to use in the cyber world. So, but that time we couldn't actually use any software tools that actually can be engaging. The only thing that we had that time was MIRC chatting or Yahoo Messenger. Even Facebook was not there yet. Facebook came in 2007 or 6. And then that time we only can simulate based on pictures, drawings, or even animations. So our that project was actually doing a university, cyber city at university, and visualizing it how it could be in the future. Fast forward 20 years later, all the apps is ready. All the platform 3D can be used in the digital world, right? And then you have all these tools like engagement tools, chatting tools, and then blockchain technologies around, NFT technology is around, and then also the internet is already 4G to 5G. Yeah, it's very fast. So all this comes, and now architects are in a dilemma whether to be part of the AI, Metaverse and AI generative technologies or not, right? So as an architect, you should be open-minded because things are evolving. Yeah. So you should be looking into exploring Metaverse. So myself, I explore a lot of things when Metaverse, when they started way before Meta announced, we already started doing Metaverse digital twin in Mozilla Hubs, experimenting on heritage building, real buildings, see how people can move, how can people interact. And then after that, subsequently using a lot of other tools like Spatial I/O, using gaming engine, right? Unreal Engine, others. So those are all experiments. And at the same time, you can actually use Revit to 3D that can be actually used for Revit 360, yeah? BIM 360 to actually go through the buildings. So there are a lot of avenues for architects to look into Metaverse. And in the aspect of AI, that's another aspect where architect can start looking into analytics and using AI as an assistant. Right? I think a lot of architects now already starting to use AI to formulate their ideas or design, using AI to actually writing, right? And then also some are also using for generative design. So there's a lot of avenues in terms of architect response in this new technology, which is Metaverse AI. Yes.
That's just interesting that's your perspective about Metaverse and AI. And so, as we know that Metaverse is not directly related to the real world, actually. In terms of the world building or like building technologies, what kind of unique point that Metaverse building in terms of like in the metaverse building, what the unique point in difference between the real and the metaverse building?
All right. So now there's a new term called phygital, between the physical and digital. But if you look at the architect's perspective in Metaverse, it's very direct, because a lot of the whole world is not really right. Because we are architects, we design things physically, about making, it has to be physical, right? So when you talk about Metaverse now in the perspective for architects, we are looking at just the deliverables of architecture, physical architecture. That means that we are using Metaverse, let's say BIM, using Revit or ArchiCAD to actually build your design from ideas to 3D models to the first point view in the 3D world. So you go through and then have interaction with the clients to see the spaces. So that's not really Metaverse, because Metaverse is meant for actually social engagement, right? So perspective of an architect is a little bit different from the outsiders. When you talk about Metaverse from architect, it's actually about deliverables of the physical. But when you talk about Metaverse from the point of view of the public, Metaverse is like a social ground for people to meet, mingle, do economic transition, and many more. Just like your WhatsApp, but it's in the 3D form, right? So this is the shift. So being an architect, you have to know, if you want to build architecture, physical architecture, Metaverse is used in such a way that it's interaction with your client. But moving forward, bigger than that, architects can actually provide bigger scope than that, which is to get data-centric design content from the clients. You can actually build your model, open to public can come in and deliberate on your design, data-driven design. Or you can actually use it after the building is complete. You can connect it with as a digital twin to the building to see the performance of the building. Or you can actually connect it to posts. If you're doing a mass housing, you can connect to the post of how neighbors can actually interact. If they don't want to go out of the house, they can go into the Metaverse to discuss as a neighbor. So there's a lot of avenues in terms of how you look at Metaverse. So hence, I was talking about one is physical architecture. The other one is the digital architecture. But how do you combine both into a phygital architecture? Example, right now I'm doing. I was designing one art gallery. So the architect wanted the client wanted to have an art gallery. At the same time, that the client wanted to have like all the arts in the gallery to be in a digital twin. But they want the art gallery to be visited by the whole world. Because when you do physical, it's limited to the people around it, whoever comes. But once you do a digital twin, you can connect both artworks in the digital world and the physical world. You can actually get the whole world to visit your building. Yeah, so that's a lot of exploration. One of the other projects that I was doing on Metaverse was quite interesting. This is Indonesia. I was working with one of the cemetery to actually do a metaverse that links to the graveyard. So you have a QR code and then you go to graveyard. When you see the tomb, you don't know who is it, right? So, but when you see my proposal was actually to get a QR code to scan the tomb, and then you get into the room of the metaverse, and you can see who owns the tomb, the pictures of the deceased, what is the story of the deceased. So that creates, another dialogue of digitalization where you are in the physical world, but you can actually start to go into a digital world to actually know about the real world stories of the digital, the deceased person. So that's another angle. As an architect, you have to open your mind and design unlimited to anything. You have to be innovative. And I believe that these new generations are very, very open. They are very open-minded in terms of any technology and potential and possibilities.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I know Metaverse NFT and I play Metaverse also in the sandbox, and I buy some NFT with Ethereum, but at that time it's like I I see the metaverse at that time is like hibernate, right? And the AI generative, like the rise, like for Chat GPT and Bert AI, and also the other AI. Now,
Yeah.
let's jump about artificial intelligence. Lately, his attitude has been hype and booming now. We know, I think days or 2 days ago, a CEO from ChatGPT, Sam Altman, is fired from their own company, I think. And they make another company like ChatGPT, and the works from the worker from the ChatGPT transform to the new company. It's like very, very, very like flexible and fast forward if we talk about AI generative. Now, if we see AI like Midjourney from Discord to render Pins 3D to make generative floor plan, and I think we get a perspective about the question that its AI can replace or remove architect based on easier kind to use. Can AI remove architect?
Wow. All right. Good questions. Yeah, actually, this question has been asked so many times
Yeah,
in the internet, and also if you go to IG, Instagram, also a lot of people put the advertisement. Can AI replace architects? Right? Then they will say no, right? For me, AI will never replace architects. Why? Simply why? Because it's human nature. We are very adaptable, and our knowledge is based on experience. And people, everyone have different experience, feel, and then whatever they the touch and what they see is very different. Unlike AI, it's a computer generated machine learning that actually analyze things. So from baseline data, and it's only based on inputs. So based on inputs on the internet, there is all over, and don't know whether it's true or wrong or right, and also input from people that are using AI that creates the final product. So when you say about AI in terms of architecture, what was your question again? It will AI will never remove architects, because the computer cannot design like an architect, especially the feel and touch and experience and understanding of the people. Similar to Metaverse, right? So only architect can design Metaverse because we have the training of understanding space, and the space will create journeys. So in AI, when you use AI, you need to know what kind of the right question you ask. And when you use Midjourney, what kind of integration of ideas then you need to use it. AI is a very powerful tool to actually create new ideas that can power up your design. Right? Okay.
Okay. So did your architecture firm implemented AI generative?
For my architecture firm, I have not actually started AI generative because we don't have any projects on that. But we are already using Midjourney to actually generate ideas. So basically, because now the clients are quite interesting. They are quite knowledgeable now. Some of my clients are commercials and also one mixed use. So with AI, is very handy. Yeah, you just type, okay, I want a stadium that look like a jungle. I want a high rise that is made out of dots, dot form. Or I want a house that is full of 3D screens. So with that, AI will actually read and create you the environment. But you cannot use all this architecture that is created by AI. You still need an architect to actually resketch it to make it workable, because architect understand how to construct the image, and the image is only a brief to your architecture. Yeah, so that's very important. So my advice to some of the young architects: please, when you do competition, don't submit the AI generative. You generate ideas from the AI. Then after that, you start sketching the AI. Look at the AI image. There's a lot of data in it. You find AI softwares to actually extract data inside the AI generating image. There's a few upcoming AI apps that actually you put the image, they will extract what is the data in the image. So from them you extract. So if you look at Facebook, you have analytics, right? Analytics. So when you go to analytics, you extract the data of the analytics. You don't know what is it, or it's actually a graph, right? How many interaction or information. But if you call a social data scientist, they will actually start to give data or give a hypothesis on what is all the data and how do you increase your engagement, right? Similar to AI. When you have that image, you get the data. You as an architect, you look at the data. What is the idea in the data? How do you bring it to your architecture? How do you draw the plans? How do you draw the elevations? What form will it take place? How do you construct the thing? You know, inside the drawing, inside the AI, there's a lot of ideas of integration in terms of physical and digital, physical and digital TVs. How do you bring it together? Or app system that you can create from there. So there's a lot of ideas that you can bounce with the AI. That's very powerful tool for now.
Okay, so and my conclusion is we are like architecture student can make AI from like using AI to make a data or finding some data and then like design iteration, but we cannot like doing competition by generative AI or something like that. So
that's very important, because now even in Malaysia, we already started having dialogue with our government, especially the board of architects, to actually when it should be another category now. And also when someone submit for competition AI, we are asking some of the competition to actually ask for the 3D model, because with AI you don't have the 3D model, right? So you cannot cheat. You cannot cheat because a lot of architects are actually working very hard in terms of doing the architecture, right? So you have to be, prepared on terms of the transformation. But there's a lot of softwares that you can actually use for AI. I'm trying to remember a few. Yes. So for an architect to explore AI, I would suggest that you start looking at the deliverables of an architect. Yeah? It starts from concept design, to design development, to planning, to construction administration, and also to the final deliverable set. For each of this stage, you can actually use different type of AI apps or softwares. Like from the start of the design, you can use ChatGPT, you can start to iterate ideas, write up, and then from there you can use your idea of planning using test fits, or you can start using Midjourney to look into images, and also you can actually even Adobe already have Adobe Firefly. You can use that to generate image from your sketches. And from there you can actually build up the 3D and use space makers. And also a lot of other things, plan sweep. And then as you go along, you move up to technical drawings. You can start to use other type of softwares like specification writing. You can use ChatGPT, or you can use MFlies, Thought River, N-Plan, Euro, on it. And as you go along in terms of construction, you can actually start to manage using AI, using FieldWire, OpenSpace, Solmiac, Autodesk, Construction Cloud. So those are a lot of other AI softwares that you can use to enhance your journey as doing the architecture. And I recently there's the other one that, if I'm not mistaken, Autodesk have a new software, right? I cannot remember what the Autodesk Construction Cloud is. It? I can't remember what is the name. But it's something that you can actually start to to explore. Autodesk Forma, it's called. Space Makers. Used to be the name Space Maker. Now it's Autodesk Forma. This is also a generative.
So, okay, that's our question about Metaverse and AI. And do you have any advice to our freshmen related to Metaverse and AI?
Okay, for the young architects, I suggest you that during your early freshman days, go to the library a lot. Read physical books. Look at the previous books. Look at the old magazine. There's a lot of ideas inside there. Especially look at precedent architects and strengthen your history. And as you go to the first year, second sem, third sem, start involving during your school holidays, university holidays, start learning one skill, but never forget about the physical world. Go explore new things in terms of traveling and also explore new kind of ideas, design. From there, start learning and balance between integrating physical world and your exploration and digital. Because this is very important, because at the end of the day, we are architects. We have to build things. We cannot build only in the digital world, right? Because we are architects and we have to build good environment, spaces for public to enjoy. And the most important is, at the end of the day, is your fulfillment in terms of doing architecture. And also at the same time, your fulfillment in terms of helping the society and community to actually experience your architecture. Yeah. So I hope you guys can actually don't ever compare yourself with other architects, but be inspired by other architects. And from there, when you're inspired by architects, try to strive hard to become the architect you can be, which is the brand is you. Don't be like other people. You cannot be like other people. You have to be you. Once you become you, then you can find your architecture and create your own personalized architecture.
Thank you, Mr. Ridha, for your advices. So, back to Sakana.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ridha, thank you so much. It's such an honor for us to interview you, especially you are giving this maybe disturb your time. And
You don't want to ask me who's my favorite architect?
Okay.
Okay, what's your favorite?
What's yours?
So from when I was in university, there was two of my favorite architects. The first architect is Foreign Office Architects. So they in UK. So the way they design things are very seamless and landscape based, urban based. The other one is MVRDB. Yeah, in Netherlands, MVRDB in Netherlands. So I like the way they design. It's very progressive and programmatic. And then now, as I grow older, I tend to actually like people that is very unique. And my favorite architect in Indonesia is Andy Rahman.
Oh, Andy Rahman. I know it. Not Abata, right?
Bata. So I think he's very special in terms of innovation, and also Antonius Richards, who I like because of his business thinking. Yeah, I like Pak Ridwan Kamil because of his leadership. So these are people that I inspire to actually, make friends with them, and then also, at the same time, wants to strive into becoming the architect I can be. So you also have to find your resident architect that you want to be in the future. All right.
Okay.
So nice talking to you, Sapana, and also Sajid.
And thank you so much, Mr. Ridha Razak. It's such an honor for us to interview you. And thank you for everything. And I think we have to end.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye. See you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.